Me and my wife, for many years now, we built $750 million, which is $750 million in multifamily. We never had one investor, even today. We started that when we were a waiter, believe it or not. We had nobody, we knew money, we didn't know about that. In the very beginning, I was not a good husband. I wasn't a faithful husband. I'm very vulnerable about it. I'm very expressive about it because I want to let other bodies know. And I almost lost my wife, not one time, a few times. So we have business and we have personal. Both of these are aligned together. So what happens in this emotional capital, it messed with me a little bit on the business side, because with me on the family side, it was a lot of negativity I was dealing with in multiple different areas, and it was skewing my growth in business and also screwing my relationships, meaning that I wasn't growing my business relationships as meaningful because these other relationships were still screwing me up. If you don't let some of your relationships go, how can you grow? Meaning that relationships, they can change your life. Forget about the financial aspect, just the growth, the meaningful discussions. Just think about it. Having a deep conversation with someone versus seeing your same buddy over and over telling you about all his misery, all his problems, same movie, different day. There's no growth. And there's 8 billion people on the planet, but yet some people only know 29. I just don't get it. So I had to really work hard. I had to be very intentional for only one thing, to change Bobby. I wasn't proud of the Bobby, and I talk about it in my book. When I started changing me, and not just changing me for the sake of trying to keep my marriage together, and I try to do that. That's why I failed a few times. And I come from a big family, a lot of personalities, I'm on a mission to break my family's curse. And the curse is the way of thinking, the way of being, the way of doing life. And I realized some years back, I was failing at it because I was so focused on so many family members until I started becoming focused on my 2 children, now my grandchildren, my immediate circle. That's where I can impact. The other ones I can't impact because guess what? I'm not around them constantly, and they're never going to catch on as to my core values. So all I can do is control right here, become incredible. And then maybe you can start looking at some of those areas. What happened with me, dude, some of these other things fade in my life because we didn't have common interests. Our core values were different. I had a different lens on life. And some people, Bobby, you changed. And I don't tell them this, but I felt like saying, and unfortunately you have not. So what did I have to do? I had to make some cuts, meaning that we're on a boat. I had to start unloading some of the luggage so the boat becomes a little more lighter, and I just started fading away from some of the stuff that was affecting me. And as soon as I became personally free, that's called personal freedom, the financial freedom eventually came. See, a lot of people do it vice versa. For me, I had to get personally free, man. And then financial freedom completely showed up. I'm really tight with my family everywhere I go, my grandkids, my children, their spouses. That is my friends. That's my life. And it's not that I don't need other people in my life. They're all beautiful. They're my legacy. And I want to give them so much love that I want to break this friggin' curse so it stops with me. And the only way I can do that is focusing on them. If you have children, you have nephews, you have grandchildren, you inspire this young man to go after your dreams. You could be and do anything you want. You do not tell him, go to school, go work for UPS, go be a firefighter. Over, give or take 50% of everyone that goes to college, 5 years later, they're not even working in the industry or area that they have a degree in. I go around all these young people and they have these 4-year bachelor degrees in marketing and they're earning high school level pay. Don't tell your children to go to college and make the same mistakes as you. Tell them to take risks, do things differently than mom and dad. Break that curse in your generation, man. There's no reason this young man can be financially free. How do you prevent growth in this young man? That's your kid, that's your nephew, that's your nieces, that's your family. How dare you allow them to repeat your mistakes? Your father, your mother, we continue duplicating this. Once you become about it, and you truly do, you'll start seeing people get bought into it. But then everyone, my entire team, I take a lot of time to make sure I express myself and my values in life, my expectations, just to make sure it's aligned. But as a leader, including my family, including my employees, I'm like this all day, every day. They see consistency. I'm respectful. I treat everyone as if they're important. It is so consistent that when you're around me, it becomes contagious. What happens with most people that can't create that culture around them, only one word they're not doing. They're not consistent with it. The consistency is the magic in it. I believe this. It's changed my life. And if I'm consistent about it and I practice it, it's undeniable. My kids, they just get hooked on it. My grandkids, my employees, even when people are not around, this is Bobby Castro. So if you stay true to who you are, your team starts developing only if you're consistent about it. That is character. That's a higher standard. I started focusing on improving me, peeling back a better layer of Bobby Castro. And I found a Bobby Castro that's super cool, man. He's super kind. He no longer has an ego. He's not pretending. He's feeling really good about himself. My marriage started just blossoming, and then slowly, dude, we just created this leather together and magic started forming. I'm not gonna pretend, yes, it wasn't easy because she didn't buy into it. She thought I was just, is it really real? Is he just doing this to make up? But over time, as I mentioned before, leadership shines with only one theme: consistency. I never want to ever meet that Bobby again. I'm looking forward to meeting the next Bobby. I have a trademark: positive mental attitude, all day, every day. PMA, all day, every day. Everything that is an issue, a problem, a complication in our lives, they have a solution. And if you're positive, you will focus more on the solution and not the issue. And it changed my life because I see my family only focus on the problems and they stayed parked there versus focusing on the solution. And the only way that Bobby was able to focus on the solution, I got excited about the positive, about getting out of the solution, and I kept looking at what's going to solve the issue. So PMA, positive mental attitude. I built a company, nearly 1,000 employees, and today I'm no longer part of that company because I sold it, but there's literally hundreds of people that wear that PMA shirt even today because they're constantly around a leader that walks the walk.